Hello and welcome. My name's Marie and this is my yarn journey. Sorry if you can hear lots of doggy noises, but Vinny's decided to join us for once, which is quite nice. Let's have a little bit of my coffee, eh? You're going to be a good boy. Mummy's got to talk. So first of all, I just wanted to talk about the places where you can connect with me. I am on Instagram as Marie's Yarn Journey, and I'll put that on the screen for you. You can email me. That's Marie's Yarn Journey at outlook.com, and I also have a link in the description to my Discord server. And that's where I am hosting the early bird gift knits cow, and that starts on the 1st of March and ends at the end of May. There's going to be prizes. I'm aiming to try and do at least one gift knit each month, but we shall see. That might be, I seem to have a lot of ambitious plans this year. How many I'll execute, who knows. But I have made a start on some this week that I've been mentioning I was going to do in February. So I'm quite glad about that. What I'm wearing today, you'll have seen this hundreds of times before if you watch my podcast, because I absolutely love this sweater. Just turned out perfect, everything basically. Apart from the fact that when I first finished it, I didn't like the yarn was a little bit scratchy for me. But it has definitely softened up with wear. It used to give me a bit of prickle around the neck, doesn't bother me at all. And I would say that it's really lasting well. I've washed and de-pilled it a couple of times, but I am definitely thinking this is the yarn I'd like to use again. And I didn't think I would, because the only problem with it is it's got quite a few, how would you word it, uneven sections in the yarn. If you can see at the bottom of this sweater, there's actually a section there where it's not been dyed or twisted. I don't know how that happens, but it must be part of their process, I don't know. Bit strange to me. And what I should have done is cut my yarn and reattached it after that piece. But I was a little less experienced then. And also, I do find a lot of the time when I join my next ball of yarn, my tension just looks really off. I have found a method of sewing in the ends which helps with that. So if I was to do it again, then obviously I would get rid of that. But I wear this all the time. It's lovely and warm. This is the Paul Sweater by Morka Knits. The pattern's great. It's a bit of a slog knitting all the ribbing. I held the wool in it 4-ply merino double for this, but yeah, I would definitely use it again. And I'll definitely knit this pattern again. I'm really... sometimes with oversized garments, because I'm quite short, I'm only 5'3", it does end up where they can look just too big rather than oversized, if that makes sense. But this seemed to work out perfectly, and I love the way it fits me, which is why I reach to it all the time. So if you haven't knit this sweater, highly recommend it. So that didn't last long, did it? The dog's decided he's not happy with me and he's off to bed. So yeah, that's all there is really to say about this sweater. Oh, I nearly spilt my coffee all over myself then. Oh dear. So I've got quite a few projects to talk about today. You've probably seen most of these. I have got a new cast on, but I'm going to wait till nearer to the end of the video to talk about that. No finished objects, but I've got quite a few yeah, 4 whips to talk about that I've been working actively on this week. I think the first one I'm going to show you is in this big bag. She doesn't quite need this big bag, but I just fancied using this one. I haven't used it for a while. Now, this is, I'm using this lovely Blue Fern Purple Quartz DK yarn. Absolutely love it. It's knitting up fantastically. I am making a pair of socks from Summer Lee's The Sock Project. And this is a 2x2 rib sock. And I was looking for a pattern that I already had, or something that would be similar to the Sunday socks by Petite Knit, because I saw, is it Journey Through Yarn? I saw her talking about it on her podcast, and I thought, oh yes, I would very much like to make those, and looked in stash and found this and thought, perfect, because this was the yarn that I picked with the money that Mum had given me when I went to Yarndale in September. So I'm knitting these on, I think it's a 3.5 this. Yeah, a 3.5 millimeter needle. I've ended up doing an in-between size. So I think I mentioned this last week, but in the pattern, I normally, with some of these patterns, I've been doing a large, which from the circumference of my foot and the size that I get, that is what she suggests to do the large. Before I started doing those, my socks were turning out quite tight, and I was doing the standard 64 stitch sock, and I was getting a really tight fit. I think it's my instep. It was that section that was really, really tight. So when I started my sock journey, when I got that book, I decided to just literally follow her instructions, and her instructions for my circumference was to do the large. Now, what I'm finding, I think, is that although that's perfectly fine over the foot and the heel and all that section, the leg is very baggy then, because I have got quite a slim ankle. So anyway, that's a long tale just to tell you that with this, because of that, and knowing that I had because my gauge is tight as well, as you all know, and the needle that I had in here was a 3.5. I decided, along with Mona's guidance, to do an in-between, a medium and a large. And so I've cast, so the option for medium is 48 stitches, and I think the large was 56, and I've cast on 52. So I'm hoping that will be the perfect in-between. Now, this was where I was when you last saw me, so I've not made much progress. It's DK weight, it knits up fast. But I wanted to show you, I have done some, and I wanted to actually ask you, I don't know if any of you have got the Sunday, the Petite Knit Sunday pattern, but I didn't really think I needed to buy it for this, although Mona said it was like, come on, it's a 2x2 rib sock. I get that, but sometimes I do like the security of having the actual pattern. I don't know why, because it is a simple thing, but I'm wondering, I want to utilise as much of this yarn as possible to make these socks. If anyone's got the Sunday pattern, if you could let me know what she suggests for leg length. Bear in mind, I am following a pattern from a book I've got, so you know, it's just the pattern in the Summer Lee book, the leg is just more of a standard size leg, and what I want to do is use as much of this yarn as possible and have this a really long leg. I'm just not sure. I was thinking what I could do is, now if I'd have thought of this before I cast on and started knitting them, it would have been a good idea, wouldn't it? I should have weighed my skein before I started, because then I would have known if it was over 100 or not, because sometimes they are. But I was thinking, and you'll please let me know what you think. So I've got 100 grams, I've got 50 grams for each sock. Even if I was kind of thinking maybe I should start the heel when I've got 30 grams left, because obviously you have the heel section and the foot. It's going to take more than just the leg on its own, and then that means I've got 20 grams. I can use up 20 grams on the leg. And what do you think? I wasn't really sure, so I think that's why I've not picked it up as much, because I hadn't made a decision on how long to do the leg. In all honesty, what I should have done is done a toe-up sock. Then I wouldn't have had any of this problem, would I? Because I could have just split the yarn, done it toe-up and all that. Hindsight and all that. Anyways, I'd appreciate a bit of advice on that. And I do think the 20 grams might be a good idea, but who knows? But they're going to look lovely, them socks, and they're going to be so nice. I'm thinking of them, you know, bed socks, house socks sort of thing. And next I'm going to show you this project, which is in a... oh, did I say that that was a Willow Bay bag? You probably saw anyway. Her bags are lovely. This is a bag that you'll have seen many, many times, because I keep putting my next sock project in it because I love it so much. And it's a Tea Cake and Makes sock bag. And in here, I haven't shown you this, I don't think, but you may not have seen on my channel, I think last week I couldn't find it. So I am doing a Learn to Knit series, which is started off with a scarf, and I made it in mind of my friend who I gifted 2 knitting kits at Christmas. And I gave her the yarn, the needles and everything she needed to do 2 projects. The first one being a scarf. So I wrote a very basic tube scarf pattern for her, and literally cast on, knit in a tube, and then cast off, and that's it. And it was just to give her the practice of knitting in the round. And I did the videos for the channel as well, because I thought a lot of the time she's very busy with work. We often don't get to catch up as much as we'd like. And if she gets stuck, she's got the videos to refer to. And I also thought that there might be other people that it would be useful for. Lo and behold, other people have followed along with the scarf, which I'm really pleased about. And the second kit that I put together for her, because I thought the next step up from doing the scarf, which is open at both ends, is to do a Musselburgh, which is essentially a tube with 2 closed ends. So I'm in the process at the moment of doing the videos for that. And I am knitting a Musselburgh so that I can film those videos. And this is the one that I'm making. And I'm using the skein, the Christmas Day skein from my 2023 Blue Ferns 4 Weekly Advent. And this is where I've got to so far. So I've just finished doing the increases, and then I'm just knit on the tube. And there's not a lot really to say about this. You'll have seen Musselburghs before. If you haven't knit one, I'd highly recommend it. It's a very easy pattern, and it's a great one once you've got past the cast on and the increases to have as an on-the-go knit. Dead easy just to pick up and put down and just knit. And I'll probably be knitting on this when I'm editing this video today, because I'm hoping really to get the tube bit done so I can do the next video next week. If I don't get it finished, then it will be the week after that video comes out. But I know my friend's still knitting away on her scarves, so she's not at the point yet where she's going to be starting on this one. But yeah, I'm just it's just doing that to enable me to do the videos. Right, what project next? My coffee's slowly going cold. Still lukewarm, tastes nice. Okay, so next project. Oh, I'm going to show you this. So I've been going on, haven't I, about fix it, finish it, frog it February. And I haven't done anything about it. I've done a lot of talking and not done it. But one of the things I wanted to do was fix by adding length to my rocket tee. Now I cannot for the life of me remember the lady who has done this pattern, but I'll put it up on screen because I can envisage the cover of the pattern and the picture of the woman, but I can't think of her name. Something beginning with L, I think. Anyways, I loved how this rocket tee turned out. I used an advent, and it was a 2023 advent, and it was Yarn for the Soul, and it was based around Alice in Wonderland, which is where I got these from, because these were part of it. These little notebooks, I've got a couple more of them. I use them, it's very handy. So I knit this. I wasn't sure I was going to like it at all because the colours are a bit wild. It's not cohesive really, and they're not colours that I would normally put into a top, but I like a challenge. I like to use my advents in a garment. The reason I like to do that is because we spend so much money on these advents and it's such beautiful yarn. But sometimes with the way they're dyed, it is quite tricky. Now, I ended up doing this rocket tee. It was a pattern that was suggested to me by AJ, with it being a V-neck. Absolutely love this pattern. The drape and flow of this is wonderful, and it fits me beautifully. It's very nice for summer, and I have, well, spring and autumn as well, to be fair. And I have got a pair of like a mid blue smart casual trouser, and this top, I wear it with that quite often when it's warmer weather. They do go nice together. I wasn't sure I'd get much wear out of it, to be fair, but what I have been finding is that it just wasn't long enough. I'd finished it too short, and especially I think if it didn't roll the way it did, it may have been okay. But because I know I do wear it, even though it's a little bit short, I wanted to go back and fix it. I knew I still had the yarn, so I kept what was left. So yesterday, now it was bound off. Now it's gone a bit, the stitches do look a bit weird, but I'm hoping once I block it, it'll be fine. But this stripe here, I hope you can see that, the greyish one, that was the last one that was on my, on it before I took it back. So I picked up all my stitches, unpicked and pulled out the I-cord edging, which it had on the bottom. Because the other issue was, on the sleeves, I went up to a 4.5mm needle for this I-cord edging, and it doesn't seem to roll at all. It's beautiful. On the bottom, I forgot to swap my needle, and I stayed on the needle that I was using for the bozzy, and that was 3.75mm, and it did roll up as well quite badly. Although I do think that the fabric of this is that drapey and lovely. That it could be one you could tuck to avoid that issue. But anyways, I thought what I need to do, I need to pick this up. I've decided I'm going to add 3 stripes. So I've nearly finished on the second stripe. So I've added that colour, added that one, and I've got one more colour to add. If I can get it out of here, which is this lovely one. And then I'm going to be doing my I-cord with this. So I will make sure to pop the larger needle on when I go to do the I-cord. But all the I-cord edging at the top looks absolutely fabulous. And yeah, the yarn is really, really nice. And I'm so, so pleased that I've got it on the needles and I've got this done. The only thing that I've had an issue with when fixing this is I even managed to find my beginning of round, which I was really shocked at. But yeah, just a few of the stitches look a bit iffy where I started knitting after, and it's the row underneath where I've picked up. So I think I might have to fiddle about with those a little bit to make them look neat. But luckily they're on the back of the garment, so hopefully it won't be too hard. It won't be too noticeable, even if I can't 100% fix it. But I'm pleased that I've got round to getting it back on the needles. This should be done in the next day or so. 3.75mm I'm doing this on. Oh, and I've got a stitch marker on here, which is from Castle, is it Castle? No, Chapel View. She does some wonderful, wonderful stitch markers. She's just actually brought a set out. I would have loved to get them, but, you know, trying to be good and all that. It had like a little celebrations tin and then it was biscuits. And it just reminded me of years ago when you used to save the celebrations tin and put the biscuits in after Christmas. So have you fixed, frogged or finished anything that was languishing this month? I think AJ had shown that she'd fixed one of her sweaters, one that she wasn't grabbing to wear because it wasn't quite right, and she frogged that. It was like a reddish colour, that one. It was very nice. The finished garment looked lovely. She posted it on Instagram. And it had a 3/4 length sleeve, which actually I quite like from time to time. Just before I talk to you about this next project, I'm just going to, so I need to write in my ins for February, and I keep forgetting that I got a skein of the John Arbon Appledore DK and Quench to do this Midland cardigan. So I'm just putting that in. Should actually be getting a Patreon yarn this month as well. But other than that, I don't think there will be anything. I did order something from, now I must have ordered it in November, but I think it'll be coming soon. And it is a winter garden box from the Copper Kettle. And I'm quite excited to get that because, I mean, she does seem to be taking on doing quite a lot of clubs and things. But if the yarns that I got in the kit off Mona for Christmas, the gingerbread house and them, are anything to go by, then hopefully this winter garden one will be really nice. So yeah, that may well come before the end of Feb. So there could possibly be 3 things in, but I'm hoping that I'm going to have some big outs this time. We shall see. I don't feel like I've had any finished objects for a while. Right. This is my Midland cardigan, and I've made quite a lot of progress. Now, if you didn't watch last week's, there was quite a saga. So I cast this on not last Friday, but the Friday before. I made quite a bit of progress. It's garter stitch, it's knit flat. Well, I was knitting flat at that point. Whipping along, you know, making very good progress, which I was really pleased about. And then, unfortunately, unfortunately, I had to rip it all back because I met Mona for a coffee and she pointed out to me that I hadn't checked my gauge and that it was way too small. Oh, and she was right, obviously. And so all that to say, I would be even further on with it than I am now, and I've still made a lot of progress because it does knit up. Well, for me, it's knit up really fast. Let's see how bunched up it is on the needles, if I can find my needle. So I'll just spread it out a bit on the cable. Now, what I've done is you knit this flat and you kind of knit side to side. So you knit a part of the back and one front, then you cast that off and then you do a bit for the back and then you do the next front. So it's new to me construction, and here hopefully you can see what I'm up to at the moment. I've seamed my sides as best I can. Can't say I'm the best at seaming, but I did mattress stitch and followed the tutorial, and now I am just doing the ribbing on the bottom of the cardigan. What I do want to say, and this might change when I block this, and it's literally just my personal preference, I'm not really sure I like this yarn, to be perfectly honest. To be fair, I did frog it, and yeah, I frogged it, and then I have knit it again into another garment and all that. But it's quite a rustic yarn to me, and it's also generally, I would say that my knitting looks quite neat. This does not look neat, and I know that a main part of that is because it's been frogged. What I would, and I didn't soak it and stretch it and do all that, but what I would say is that it's very, very lightly twisted, and because of that, I think what's happened is that some of the twist has come out of the yarn when I've frogged and now reknitting it. I've also had to separate the DK strand from the lace strand after it's been frogged, which has been challenging because it is a grippy yarn. So I don't think I'm probably getting I'm not seeing this yarn at its best at the moment. This yarn has been under a lot of stress. So if I get a finished garment and I like the garment, I will be pleased. But at the moment, I think I've just fallen out of love with this yarn. I just don't like the fact that my knitting is, I know it's garter stitch, but it's looking quite uneven, and I can tell. And to be fair though, I'm hoping the blocking will help, but I can see a difference where I've used, because I had a bit of yarn left on a small cake from when I actually made my salty days, and I've knit that in, and where I've knit that, I can see a difference in the stitch and how the definition and the evenness. And you'll probably be able to see it as well, because it's not part of it is on this front section here, and you can clearly see where it looks a lot neater. I've seen other versions of this cardigan as well that you can tell the difference in how it looks. I just worry that this is going to look quite scruffy. I think is my worry. But so far so good with the knitting process of this cardigan. I'd highly recommend it. I mean, you are literally handheld through the whole thing. So I know that Laura has mentioned a few times on her videos for the Midland Cardigan intermediate and all that, which, yeah, I do think possibly. But if you follow it step by step in the way she's laid out, I don't see how you can really go wrong. There's nothing massively difficult. It's all the usual. And even the short rows, if you've never done them before, they're very simple short rows. So for the knitting process for this pattern, I've absolutely loved it, which is why I just ripped it straight back. You know, when I knew it had gone wrong, because I knew I could whip it back up quite quickly. But I think it is looking a good size. It's definitely going to be quite oversized. I'm liking the look of the length of the body, but we shall see. I need to try it on, really. I've not even tried it on since I've seamed up the sides. But I made sure that when I did seam them up, to be fair, I didn't go quite to my mark, because I left a little bit extra. So if I need to add a few extra stitches, I can do that. Anyone else knitting the Midland cardigan? Anyone else use this yarn? Because this is the recommended yarn for this pattern as well. I think it's just that if you look at my yarn, you can see how curly it is. Yeah. Oh, and that's in another Tea Cake Makes bag. This is a bag that I actually, well, let me have a look if I can see it. I actually went flying through the air last week when Mona had a bit of, Monday, Mona had a bit of a fall when we went to the, went for our coffee on Monday, and this went flying through the air. My handbag went flying through the air. And luckily both survived without any damage, which is good, because this one, I think it did end up with a bit of dirt on one of the sides, but can't see it now. So I think that's the main projects that I've been working on that I wanted to talk to you about. The other thing I was going to say was, managed to get my nails done again. I'm doing very well with this year. Need to keep it up, don't I? And reading, I'm still reading every night at bedtime, which is fantastic. At the moment I'm reading this one, which is set in Paris in 1750, and I'll just read you the synopsis. In the midst of an icy winter, as birds fall frozen from the sky, chambermaid Madeleine Chastel arrives at the home of the city's celebrated clockmaker and his clever, unworldly daughter. Madeleine is hiding a dark past and a dangerous purpose to discover the truth of the clockmaker's experiments and record his every move in exchange for her own chance of freedom. For as children quietly vanish from the Parisian streets, rumours are swirling that the clockmaker's intricate mechanical creations, bejewelled birds and silver spiders, are more than they seem. And soon Madeleine fears that she has stumbled upon an even greater conspiracy, one which might reach to the very heart of the Versailles. So yeah, very much enjoying it halfway through. I've just been reading it this week mainly at bedtime, but it's surprising how many books you can get through doing that, because I've read quite a few this year so far, and we're only halfway through February, so I'm pretty pleased with that. I don't take at the moment anyway, I'm not taking any devices up to bed with me. I just head up to bed and I just read my book for about 45 minutes. It's great. Still keeping on with the skincare as well. Again, that's been since Christmas, so you know, not doing too bad. And don't think I've got anything lifey to say, just ticking along as usual, working and knitting. Now, I want to talk to you about my last project, and the reason I've left this till last is because it ties in with Good Knits is hosting a Cal, and there's a chat on Instagram, and there is prizes for anyone who finishes, and I think it ends, it's started, is what I'm trying to say, and it's till the end of March, and it's the Cognac Cal, and I can't remember who the pattern's by, so apologies for that. I'll put it up on the screen so you can see it. You can either do, there's a sweater which has two finishing options, which is I think it's twisted rib or I-cord, and I'm doing the I-cord version, but there is also a Cognac cardigan, and you can also do that pattern. So I've not really started it yet, but cast on, we were all starting on Monday. So I'd done my swatch, which I think I showed you, which was this. And I'm doing it with a Zakami yarn, which I got from in my goodie bag from Woolly Good Gathering last April. I've got 2 skeins of this. And I'm also using the Fiberco, I can never pronounce this, Ciro. And I got this at Northern Yarns. I can't get my words out. I got this at Northern Yarns very early on in my getting back to knitting journey. And both of those been in stash for a while, and I wasn't sure what I was going to use them for. This pattern, oh, I'll tell you about the bag. This is my Creative Garage bag, Australian dyer and bag maker. Fantastic. Her stuff is gorgeous. If you haven't bought from her before, I'd highly recommend it, even if you're in the UK, because if exchange rates are still as good as when me and Moan did our order last time, you get in a good deal, really, even including postage. So, yeah, the Cal started on Monday. A chat's been set up on Instagram, and I have only done a cast on and I've done nothing more. My gauge is slightly off, row and stitch gauge. So I've got 17 stitches by 23, and I think the pattern calls for 16 by 22. So I sat the other day and did a bit of maths, worked out how it would affect, and I realised that because I just thought, oh well, it's only 1 stitch, I'll still do size 3, but then I thought no, I better work this out. So I worked out the maths and decided that what I needed to do was do a size 4. So I would have normally done a size 3 for my bust size, but if I do size 4 with the gauge I've got, I will come in bang in the middle between a size 3 and a 4. So that seemed perfect to me. So I'm glad I worked it all out before I started, not halfway through the project, as sometimes does happen. But I've cast on ready, and the reason I've not made any progress on this is because, and this is what I wanted to tell you and why I've left it to the end, I am going to attempt to knit that sweater in 1 week, and that will be next week's video on Friday. So I'm going to start tomorrow. I'm recording this a bit early this week, a day early, so it's actually Thursday, and to give me time to edit and get it up tomorrow, because I'm quite busy tomorrow. And also then I'm going to start from tomorrow working on this, and I'm going to try and do it in a week, and then hopefully I can take you along on the journey, and I'll either have a finished sweater or I won't by next Friday. What do you think? The reason I've decided to do this sweater, challenge myself to do it in a week, is because the kids are off school next week and college, so I won't have any of the running around school run, and generally I don't have much work in half term. I book it out so I can spend time with the boys. So we'll be doing stuff, taking the dog out on walks and all that sort of jazz, and I will get a bit more knitting time. So vote in the comments. Do you think I'm going to be able to do it in a week? It's like I say, the pattern's a 16 stitch gauge. I've got the 17 stitch gauge. I'm doing size 4. I've checked I've got enough yarns for both of those because it doesn't seem much yarn really, but yeah, we shall see. And will it be a sweater that I like? Who knows? Because I'm not sure that I would have picked those 2 colours had it been my choice. Obviously the pink fluffy one, I did pick, but I just picked it at a time when I wasn't making sensible decisions on yarn. It was just like, oh, that yarn's pretty. But I don't think that's a colour that I would wear normally. But paired with the beige, I did actually like the swatch. It was quite nice. I will have some yarn management with that though, because the 2 skeins that I got from Zakami in my goodie bag for the Woolly Good Gathering, they differed massively. So I know that the fluff will disguise that a bit, but I don't want there to be an obvious section in the sweater where the colours are different, because one looks much more pink in tone, the other one looks more beige and is more speckled. So well, it's lightly speckled, the other one doesn't seem to be speckled. So I am going to be using both of those yarns throughout, and I'll be swapping each row to hopefully make it more of an even and cohesive fabric. And I think that's everything I wanted to talk to you about today. Hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.